Let's go ahead and kick it off with this, Nolan. Recently, another Wall Street doomsayer predicted we're headed for a huge market crash in which the S&P 500 will lose 50% of its value, but that wasn't a big news story. However, Warren Buffett is now flashing a warning signal of his own. He says anytime the market value of all U.S. companies to GDP is around 200%, you're playing with fire. This happened in 99 and 2000. We know what happened right after that. It is happening again right now. So does the Warren Buffett prediction have more credibility with you? And, in that same vein, are you worried about heading into 2025?
Well, we just talked a little bit about our economic summit that we had recently held, and we have that twice a year. So we'll have another one coming up in February. And the last theme that we had was called The Legends of Investing. And, we actually talked as Warren Buffett, I would believe, would be considered one of those legends of investing. Mm-hmm. And so the question is there, how much should we listen to Warren Buffett? When I think about the things that I had talked about at the Economic Summit, I do think that there is some good takeaways here. Again, he's talking a little bit about playing with fire with the market and where the levels are right now. So I was looking back at some of his famous quotes, and a couple of them, had jumped out to me, and I'll walk you through those three ideas to see if you can implement them in your practice. But, to recap, Buffett's been a seller of, equities for 8 consecutive quarters. He's built the Berkshire Hathaway stack pile of cash to more than $325 billion. That's the largest level it's ever been in the company's history. Most people, look at that, and that would be a little bit of a reason for concern, especially with the markets at all-time highs, and valuations are at a premium compared to the stock market as a whole, trading at the S&P roughly 24 times forward earnings. So let's take a couple of those nuggets from Warren Buffett and say, how do you apply that to your situation to decide what to do with your investments moving forward? Number one, his prediction that he had said in the past was predicting rain doesn't count, building arcs does. And so if I stop and I think about that, the first thing I would say is, forget stock market predictions. The gentleman that you'd open up the quote with talked about his prediction was the market was going to crash as much as, 50%. I can go back to February of 2024 at our economic summit, and we had put on the screen some of the top strategist predictions for what the market was going to do in 2024. And looking back, I can say 100% of them got it wrong. I think the highest prediction was a little over 10%, and kind of the lowest prediction was negative 10%. And, we now know, kind of rounding out the end of the year, it's not here yet, but the market's up, over 20%. And so following predictions can be very difficult, just difficult that it can be like predicting what the weather is going to be next week or the week after. I know here in Northwest Ohio, it's changed quite a bit, actually given me a little bit of a cold because of the ups and downs of the weather. So forget about, predictions of what the market's going to do in 2025. In a little bit, I'm going to share, what our thoughts are. And I would say, take that a little bit into consideration with how to position your portfolio. But with the markets at record high, my advice to you is use this time to focus on the ship. Focus on your financial ship that's going to get you through the next storm. Because I would agree that at some point, something bad is going to happen. And what happens is you oftentimes will have investors that will chase, hot investments at the end of the time frame, which to me, tends to be a very poor strategy. Number two is I would say risk comes from not knowing what you are doing. Again, that's a Warren Buffett quote. Risk comes from not knowing what you're doing. So my advice to you is to make sure that you understand the methodology and the process that's being used to manage your money. When we look at the term risk, the advantage of technology today is there's a lot of tools and software that's available that, can help pinpoint the exact level of risk that you're taking. I had a client last week. She recently completed a rollover of her retirement account, created a really solid plan, but she's a little bit nervous at the end, and she said that her boyfriend had told her that the market's going to crash anytime soon, so she wanted to know, should we hold off on waiting? And the question is, the short-term predictions of the market get to be very difficult, but again, when you take time to walk through what the total risk is in your portfolio and the time frame of when you're going to need the money, it'll help make those decisions a lot easier. Number 3, Warren Buffett's quote is, "You only find out who is swimming naked when the tide goes out." I like that one a lot as well. And if I think about that quote and I say, how do you apply that to your situation? I would say be very wary of companies that are not financially healthy. I also would say that we in general like companies that have a competitive advantage and or companies that are needed on a daily basis. That's been, a constant theme that we have talked about here on the show for quite some time. Mm-hmm. And so if you take those 3 ideas of what Warren Buffett is saying and listen to those ideas, I think it's going to help you, become a better, more solid investor to not only get through the upcoming turbulence that the market might have. I would expect more volatility, but be able to be in a position to capture opportunities. If you know what you own and there is a pullback in the market and you have some really good quality companies, that might help open up some opportunities. If you've had a good 2023, 2024 run up in your portfolio, it might be a great time to rebalance your portfolio. And that's just one of the things that we do in giving you advice and feedback in what is called that retirement team action plan. The retirement team action plan is the process that we go through in providing you a 2-page report that shows you where your threats and opportunities could be in your overall financial situation. And then we're going to break it down into 4 categories: taxes, estate planning, asset protection, and money management. As much as that I liked seeing everybody at our Christmas party last week, and I think that was wonderful. I think the best Christmas gift you could probably give yourself, now don't give it to your loved one because he's probably wanting something nice, but the best gift you could give to yourself this holiday season is the gift of financial independence and the gift of getting a review. And that's exactly what we can do on the Retirement Team Action Plan. It's as easy as getting a hold of us to make that happen. We can put that together for you.
It's as easy as reaching out and setting up a time, 419-794-3030. As I said earlier, just by listening, tuning in, watching, you're showing you're taking your retirement planning, your financial outlook seriously. The next step is having that plan put together with something like the Retirement Team Action Plan. Real easy to set up, 419-794-3030 to reach out to the team. You can also go online, find out more about America's Retirement Headquarters and the upcoming events that they've got going on, and set up a time there, arhq.com.